Hi, this is Dave Smith from No Kill Colorado. I'm here with Aubrie Kavanaugh from No Kill Huntsville and Alan Rosenberg from the New Jersey Animal Observer. This is No Kill in Motion. Well, today we have a great subject that I really like because I think we've seen different ways that this has actually played out in communities across the United States that have gone no kill. When a community goes no kill, it's in a geographic region, especially this is really pertaining to municipal shelters where taxes pay at least some of the cost of running the shelter. And when a no-kill community comes to one of these areas, or when that area starts becoming no-kill and is trying to become no-kill, what are the obligations that that organization or that community has to other communities in the surrounding areas? I look at Colorado. So No Kill Colorado actually limits itself inside the borders of Colorado. We don't deal with animals outside of the state. Ironically, Colorado transfers in 45,000 cats and dogs a year into our state. We transfer out very few, like 2,700. What that tells us is we actually have more fosters and adopters than we need because we're killing about, 10,000 healthy or treatable pets in our shelter system every year. So I don't think we should be doing that. We should always help our neighbor if we have that ability, right? We should. But these animals are here. There are healthy, treatable pets right in our community. We should be helping them first and then moving out. I think it should start at a city. And if your city has all the capacity in the world, you can go out to the rest of the county. If the county doesn't need any help, you can go to the adjoining counties. That's fine. But you shouldn't do it until you're actually truly no kill, in my opinion. That's the way I see it. So, Alan, I know you have some thoughts on this. When a location initially becomes a no kill community, what do you think are its obligations to help other communities in surrounding areas?
Well, it's an interesting topic, David. I wrote about this on my blog maybe 6 or 7 years ago about this concept of no-kill clusters or geographic hubs, where when a community goes no-kill, you see many other communities in nearby areas becoming inspired or pressured to become no-kill. And therefore, when the shelter in one community becomes no-kill, you effectively not only save the animals in that community, but you save maybe hundreds or even thousands of animals in other nearby communities. So I've always heard the claim from people who favor transport that it doesn't matter if I save a life next door or a life 2,000 miles away because a life's a life. And the answer is no, it's not because of that pressure and inspiration that creating a no-kill community does. So to answer your question, well, when a community becomes no-kill, what obligations does it have? And my thinking on this is kind of based on my state, New Jersey. So New Jersey is a local rural state where there's many different jurisdictions with many different animal shelters. And in our state, almost basically all our animal shelters have excess capacity. So when a community goes no kill, in my view, here at least in New Jersey, I would say they should, at a minimum, use that extra capacity to rescue animals from nearby kill shelters, or even better yet, just take the contracts from those nearby kill shelters with the excess capacity you have. And therefore, you effectively most quickly expand a no-kill community because the other way of local political advocates takes a long time. And I think that's the quickest way to get there. So that's my view of what an obligation, a no-kill shelter, what obligation it has once it becomes no-kill. And I would add though, when I say no-kill, it needs to be really no-kill, not just at barely 90%, but upper 90% range for dogs, maybe low 90% range or higher for cats, before they say we're no-kill and we go outward to other communities.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, and then you take a contract for the next community over if you're doing a really good job. That I didn't actually think of that. That's interesting. And then actually, I know that falls into the way Aubrie thinks about a lot of stuff. She really pays attention to tax supported shelters and how that affects the community and where that money goes, right, Aubrie? So what do you think about this?
I agree with Alan, but I think I come to it from a slightly different perspective just because I've dealt with municipalities for so many years, even before I was an animal welfare advocate and a no-kill advocate. Every municipality has a jurisdiction, and they function within that jurisdiction to serve those constituents who live there. So, and like Alan used the example of New Jersey, I'll use the example of Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville, Alabama provides services within that jurisdiction, based whether it's police, fire, public works, streets, parks. So when we're talking about a tax-funded animal shelter, in my mind, when the community initially becomes a no-kill community, they should focus on that same jurisdiction because that's what's being funded by the taxpayers. If an outlying community had a law enforcement issue or a fire issue, they would not expect a municipality from hours away to come and respond. Now you have mutual aid agreements for immediate areas, but in Huntsville, with Huntsville becoming a no-kill community, it provides services within that geographic hub. Having said that, like Alan said, that creates an incentive for the outlying communities as citizens say, well, if Huntsville did that, why is my city not doing that? Why is my county not doing that? And it helps to apply pressure. I think that once they really do achieve that no-kill status by saving all healthy and treatable animals, if they have the ability to go outward for some type of unusual event, like some type of mass intake event, whether it's a collector seizure, or maybe there was a dog fighter, or maybe there's a natural disaster and some other shelter that's in another jurisdiction simply doesn't have enough space to house animals, or maybe they don't have enough fosters, they can help in those circumstances. But I think that we shouldn't absolve elected officials in other areas of their responsibility to bring about the change that their citizens demand.
Well, you made me think of something. I can't remember what it was that triggered it, but I was thinking years ago, I was working with Beth Sundermeyer from No Kill Houston. The shelter down there, Bark, transfers out a lot of animals. They still transfer. Back then they did. They still have. In fact, they've accelerated over the years. And Houston, this kind of blew my mind a couple of years ago. They actually passed a bill to dedicate, I think, over time now, it's been well over $1 million to transfer animals out. And they weren't spending the money on actually, spay neuter, comprehensive adoption, foster programs. I think they've done those things, but they literally passed hundreds of thousands of dollars to transfer animals. And just for the record, Ben had actually done some research like 2 years ago or something. I mean, more than 5,000 animals from Bark, one shelter, came to Colorado. And when I looked at it, it's 1,000 miles, right? 900 something each way, right? To actually go down there, get animals and bring them here. And so that's a resource issue, which kind of goes back to the tax thing, but even if it's not taxes, right? How much does it cost to actually do that when there is a homeless pet a mile away in the shelter near your home? I believe we should help our neighbors. I still stand by that. But if it costs me, $200 to get every pet from Houston, and it costs me $100 to save a pet in the shelter down the block, that means I could save double by staying close to home first. And then when I'm done, I can go take animals from other places. So that's the out-of-state transfer thing drives me crazy in Colorado. I think we should do it, but not to the degree we do. Any last thoughts? This was a great conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's kind of part of the overall concept of shelters over relying on rescues. I see this everywhere, whether it's local rescues or rescues out of state through transport. When a shelter is relying too heavily on rescues, it basically squashes innovation at the shelter, because as Aubrie said, if someone's doing all your work for you, what incentive do you have? And the way I've always viewed rescues when a shelter is becoming no-kill, it's kind of like a first step, meaning it gives the shelter some confidence that, hey, we're achieving some success, rescues are helping us, but they got to wean themselves off that to a level when they're ultimately no-kill, where rescues are really only pulling up the really hard cases like the severe behavior case dogs, really bad medical case animals. because if you just let rescues pull the animals, then the shelter is not going to really have much incentive to do much. And then ultimately, when the rescues pull away or the rescue can't help them, then they start killing again. And one other thing I would say is, from a fiscally responsible way, shelters that are taxpayer funded, one way they could rescue animals in a fiscally responsible way is to charge the shelter they're pulling from a fee that would cover the cost of the animal. So that's one other way that a municipal funded shelter, if it had excess capacity and it wanted to save animals from a nearby community, it could do so in a fiscally responsible way.
Aubrie, last thoughts.
I think of it kind of like the whole teach a man to fish thing, right? I think that it's great to, again, I'm not saying you shouldn't help neighbors, but I think that we need to enable the communities around that no-kill community to do a better job so that they can be more sustaining moving forward, whether that's sharing ideas or developing some type of mentoring or partnership, because we want that shelter essentially to be able to fish for themselves or be able to take care of their animals by themselves. And it can be infectious in a good way. I mean, when something positive happens and we've proven, hey, this really is possible, it's not a myth, the world is not flat, then it can be an inspiration for other areas. And that's why we have, like Alan said, we have areas and even states where the idea has led from one community to another, whether and there are a number of states, I think Michigan, I think Indiana, where if you look at a map and if you look at the different places that are no-kill, you can tell that one started it, but then others got on board. So I think that to that end, inspiration is what we really owe other communities around us to say, it really can happen, you can do it.
All right, we're out of time. Thank you both. This is David from No Kill Colorado, here with Aubrie Kavanaugh from No Kill Huntsville, Alan Rosenberg from New Jersey Animal Observer, and this has been No Kill in Motion. We'll see you next time.